apple. Apple, apple, apple. And B is for baby. Baby, baby, baby. And C is for
colonialism.
Lido TV, Lido TV, Lido TV, Lido TV.
What a beautiful day to talk about colonialism.
But, Lido, what is colonialism?
Colonialism is when a people takes over another people's land and then tries to destroy their culture.
Ew, Lido, that sounds terrible.
It is. And you know what? Sometimes people who are colonized don't know they are colonized. That's how bad it is.
Okay, you're losing me.
When I was a little girl in Colombia, we had this teacher tell us that we should be so happy, so grateful that the great Spaniards, los españoles, conquered us and colonized us. Because if they hadn't, we would be eating macarepas instead of McNuggets.
Oh, well, I mean, come on, Lido. Both those things sound delicious.
Yeah, sure. But do you know what's even more delicious?
What?
Getting your land back. Don Alirio is a legendary record collector in Barranquilla, my hometown. The city is just north of San Basilio de Palenque, the first free town from slavery in all of the Americas. It's people like Don Alirio who keep our culture and our history alive.
Yo soy Carlos Mario Mojica, pero tengo un alter ego que se llama Alirio porque los tenderos se llaman Alirio. Es que 38 años de mi vida se lo he dedicado a esta tienda. Yo creo que una de las cosas que más me gusta de haber conseguido mucha música aquí en Barranquilla es que uno podía encontrar cualquier cantidad de ritmos, de estilos, de géneros, música de todas partes del mundo. Te estoy hablando de décadas y décadas de historia musical aquí. Mira esta belleza. Esto es el paraíso, socio. Esto es el paraíso. Mira este disco. Mira esta belleza. El comején. Joda. Hay cumbia, hay champeta, hay chandé, hay salsa, hay fandango, vallenato, porro, funk, tropical. Mira, este disco de breakdance son palenque, palenque, palenque. Tema duro, puro funk. Muchas veces no reconoce a Palenque como el epicentro de lo que más adelante se conoció como el sonido afroantillano. Realmente, y eso no aparece en la historia. Lo que pasa es que ya también estas bodegas ya las saquearon, llegaron de todas partes del mundo y se llevaron cualquier cantidad de cosas. Se llevaron cosas que incluso aquí no les paraban bola y se las llevaron y cuando las ven allá, ahí sí les paran bola. Joda. Tiene que ver lo que tú por lo menos en Europa, tú llegas a una tienda, siempre te has encontrado con cualquier cantidad de discos africanos. Entonces, esa vaina también está pasando ahora mismo con los discos colombianos. O sea, los discos colombianos están allá.
La gente que es del territorio negra, que tiene la experiencia vivida de gueto, de barrio, de pueblo, esa música no se oye. Pero si una persona de España adopta la estética, es lo más grande que hay. Con la cumbia colombiana, con el funk carioca, con el kuduro de Angola y con cualquier cantidad de ritmos que hacen parte de la cultura popular. Llegó el aval del mono y ahí se volvió una vaina fantástica.
No sé. ¿Sabes que en esta reedición el precio que te estoy dando es...
Sí, me estás dando
casi
buen
el precio de
precio.
coste. Contamos sería 66, los 37 importados y
y 29 nacionales, ¿no?
Y un sencillo 30.
Ajá. Shane siempre me trata bien, pero hoy no me está tratando muy bien.
Mejor que
Yo soy Golfo de Guinea, como dice que Joan Pujol. Vengo de Barcelona directamente a Barranquilla a ver a Shane. He ido buscando música tropical, champeta, bugalús, todo lo que a mí me cuesta mucho encontrar en Barcelona y en Europa. Y como propietario que soy de una tienda de discos, pues me gusta comprar para mí y también para poner en mi tienda allí. Te voy a pagar una parte, Shane, y mañana volveré para llevarme todo y para pagarte lo que me falte.
Y bueno, ¿y cuánto fue la cuenta?
barato.
Barato
disco.
Ya los músicos que nosotros vamos a poner en esa vaina no están, muchos de ellos, pero definitivamente deberían tener el lugar que se merecen, tanto a nivel de reconocimiento, como si se logra hacerlo del asunto con que le llegue a ellos lo que les tiene que llegar. En todo caso, el artista es el jodido.
La institución. El vivo es la institución.
Exactamente.
Hello, I'm your girl, Truth and Reparation, here with another ASMR experience. When Prince William and Kate Middleton came to visit Canada in 2017, it cost It cost $1.9 million for an 8-day visit. And the RCMP spent $2 million on security. The Canadian government spends just under $7,000 per year on each child in First Nations schools. That number is 30% lower than what's spent on children in other schools. People living on reserves are 90 times more likely to have no access to running water than the average Canadian. In Colombia, as of 2019, Canadian companies are operating 23 mines, many with funds and tax breaks from the government. Mining practices in Colombia have been cited for human rights violations, displacing communities, and even causing death. Canada gets a lot from Colombia, but Colombians need to go through a visa process just to visit Canada. Sounds like freedom to me. You know what I think? Maybe every Colombian should be granted automatic Canadian citizenship, given everything that's been extracted from our land and our people. Hey. See you next week on another Truth and Reparation ASMR experience.
Today I'm here with one of my closest, most special friends, Bear, from the music collective, The Hallucination. For people that are watching right now, how about you let us know, how did you get started in music and art, and how did you know that you were an artiste?
As cheesy as it sounds, it's been my whole life. My family are all artists. With music, though, is a weird one, because I'm not a musician. I can't play instruments. When eventually I found DJing, it was like, oh, this is what I can do with all of this music knowledge that I've accumulated throughout my life. So that's really how I ended up in music, was as a spectator turned DJ.
That's also how we basically met. I remember you wrote me and you were like, we're playing your song at this party and we're gonna play over here, you should come. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Eventually, the Hallucination starts. We start doing our thing. We start going on tour. And I started noticing that you always had action figures on all of your DJ gear. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, well, my love of collecting toys and action figures is something that really grew with Hallucination, and then, you know, actually being able to afford to buy the things that I wanted, like, as a child. But as things grew with the Hallucination, the toys that I brought on tour started to take on another meaning. It was like I was setting up these guys as my line of defense on stage. You know, me growing up, there was a point in time where I had to put all this stuff away and kind of hide my love for all this stuff to be accepted. I
think it's important to see that, because there's this side of you that people don't get to see, or like men, especially Native men, that representation is not seen. So we should talk about what you brought, because it's a beautiful selection. This is a beautiful piece. Could you tell us what it is, where it came from?
Yeah, so that, like the rest of the stuff on the table, was all designed by Jesse Hernandez, who's an artist based in the Bay Area. So Jesse's work is something that is very close to me, because it's following the same lines as what we do in the Hallucination, where he's taken his Aztec imagery and brought it in to vinyl toys, into graffiti, into all of his art. And that process of taking something that is part of your culture, but bringing it into the things that are part of our everyday lives, is so important. And it's really where we started with our work, which was to say, let's make something that is recognizably and instantly identified as Indigenous and for Indigenous people, but can be enjoyed by every and anybody.
I do find that you and me share this thread. All Indigenous people, from Cree paintings to Aztec paintings to Mayan, and even the textiles in the Wayu weavings and the toys, they belong in that thread. They have this sense of identity. And when you have a sense of identity and culture, your childhood flourishes, which means that you will have a beautiful adulthood. And then you don't have to be like hiding or like waiting for the right moment to show that you're not the scary, scary name. I feel like I'm much scarier than you.
You are.
As a giant man, I've exposed your secret.
It's a joke around my house that I'm actually much smaller inside than I am outside. And I love feeling protected by you.
By a little tiny Lido Pimienta.
Thank you for being here, Mayor. Thank you for sharing. Me. Thank you so much. I am Lido Pimienta, and welcome back to Canada's Top Land Acknowledgers. You know the rules. 3 well-meaning white people attempt to give the most sincere-sounding land acknowledgement they can. Whoever wins is named Canada's Top Land Acknowledger, but only if they can impress our judges, these 3 Indigenous people. Now, let's meet our first contestant. She's the director of the Cinder Arts Collective in Victoria, BC. Please welcome Lee Norman. Lee, here's your challenge. You have an event at your gallery thing. How would you conduct a land acknowledgement? Go.
It is my honor to welcome you all here today to the Cinder Arts Collective, proud guests on the traditional territory of the Leguan... I can't pronounce it. I'm so sorry.
Come on. We've had hundreds of years to learn our names.
An absolutely disappointing land acknowledgement by Lee Norma. But we're just getting started. Let's meet our next contestant. He's a tenured professor of Indigenous Studies at the University of Southeastern Ontario. Please welcome Neil Miller. You are hosting a delegation of your fellow white professors in downtown Toronto. What's your land acknowledgement?
We must acknowledge that we are meeting here on the Indigenous traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, the Mississaugas, and the Haudenosaunee people! As my Indigenous kin refer to it as the dish with one spoon territory.
Well, it looks like Neil Miller is the land acknowledger to beat. Okay. She's the director of an Indigenous social services agency in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Please welcome Lorraine Medford.
Ani, Lido. I'm honored to be in your presence.
Okay, here's your challenge. You are at a social work conference in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. You're asked to give the land acknowledgement. How do you do it? Go.
Ani, Buzo, Tansi, Ekosani, Seiko, Lorraine Medford Lundishnikas. It warms my spirit to welcome you all to this, the territory of the Anishinaabe, Nihayik, the Dene.
She's gonna burst her white savior gland.
The homeland of the Métis Nation and the visiting grounds of the Inuit. We acknowledge this land and the sacred gifts which we all must share. We are all children of this earth. Aho.
Well, it looks like we have our winner. Lorraine Medford, you are truly, truly Canada's top land acknowledger. Oh my goodness. Yeah, baby, yeah. Now, are you ready to find out what the grand prize is?
Yes! Oh, God, yes!
Well, we know you have a large, comfortable four-season cottage in beautiful Lake of the Woods, Ontario. Isn't that right?
Yes, I mean, my family's been on that land for 4 generations.
Well, not anymore. We are giving your family's cottage and land back to the local Anishinaabe people.
No, I didn't agree to this at all, okay? This isn't in the contract anywhere. You can't do this!
It was in the fine print. Well, good night, everyone. Make sure to tune in again next week to find out who will be the next top land acknowledger. Why?
Today was kind of rough, Lido.
Really? How so?
Yeah, I'm kinda upset now.
I kind of just wanted to enjoy things, and now I'm left with this information about colonialism forever.
Well, I don't know what's wrong with any of you. I personally am just happy to have learned something.
That's right, Sonny. Knowledge is power.
But does it have to be?
Absolutely. You know, when I first came to Canada, I had no idea that Indigenous people lived here, let alone how they're treated. And I'm Indigenous.
What? Well, how is that even possible, Lido?
You want to know their secret? They don't want us sharing our lived experiences.
Well, I'm not sure I understand.
I think what Lido is saying is that, like, colonialism may seem like a thing of the past, but it's, like, affecting all of us all of the time on every level. And
at the very least we can do is to acknowledge how it's created a major imbalance in our everyday life and society.
That's exactly it. I guess this show is it's really working.
We'll see you next time.
Can I have some more? Por favor.